what's the dumbest concept we could possibly do about Star Wars?
Well,
Okay, today we're gonna review George Lucas's beard history. And by doing so, I'll show you a selection of the Holy Grail, let's call them the forbidden photos, where the creator of the greatest saga of all time is shaved. Alright, Lucas has a unique and recognizable style, far from what you might expect from someone so influential in world cinema. Since the 70s, George Lucas' appearance can be summed up with pair of sneakers, old jeans, checked shirt, little glasses, and, of course, the most iconic beard of American cinema. But how did all of this start? Look at this cute little baby. The least we can say is you couldn't predict such hairiness when looking at his dad. As he grew up, George slowly adopted a rebellious look, but no sign of a beard before that goatee. In 1966, when working on his short films at university, he's studying cinematography at USC in LA, so yeah, the hippie influence is clearly there, and will never really leave him. Yet, there's still an important event for our review, and that's precisely when, in this nonsense video you expected nothing from, I'm actually gonna teach you some stuff about Lucas's career. So, back in university, young George is gifted. So gifted that he earns a scholarship to visit Warner Studios' last movie, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. The two quickly grew fond of each other and decided to team up against Hollywood, creating their own studio, American Zoetrope, to shake up movie making.
Tell us something about your young assistant, George Lucas.
Well, he's not my assistant, actually.
Can you tell us about your young...
Associate. Associate, okay.
For this, they went on the road to shoot a film called Rain People, driving across the US and shooting wherever they felt was right. At some point though, they have to go south, which given the socio-political context of the time was no small thing. Thus, to avoid being denied access, or worse, Coppola ordered everyone to shave their faces. And that's how we got our first beardless Lucas photo. By the way, Coppola being a strong leader, it was said that he lost a lot of his charisma when shaved. And it is following his mentor's advice that Lucas started to grow his beard to be more respected. No more goatee then, and welcome to the full beard. Thank you, Coppola. By the way, during that trip, Lucas wasn't just helping with the shoot. He also worked at night to write the adaptation of his postgraduate short film, THX 1138, which he started shooting after coming back from Rain People. We're in 1969 and this is really prime Lucas's hairstyle. The beard and hair have merged into an impressive mane, kinda the one of the lion about to snap Hollywood. Oh, well, the lion's gonna have to wait a bit, since this first movie is a huge flop. It actually crashed Coppola's production company, who had no choice but to accept the adaptation of a commercial novel, something called The Godfather. But that's another story. As for George, he moves on to his second film, American Graffiti. A milestone in his career, of course. The movie is a massive hit, earning $140 million on a budget of just $800,000. Just a second to process that. 800k, 140 million. Alright.
I'm happy now.
But it's also a milestone in our hairiness review. Yeah, the hair's shorter, the face is getting more balanced, and there's still that well-furnished beard for the now hottest director in Hollywood. And then, then he makes Star Wars. This time I won't go into details. You've got all my videos to dive into the chaotic production of this saga. No, what's interesting for us today is how success is gonna shape the beard of our favorite director. Episode 4, Lucas is tearing his hair out, literally trying to write a coherent script. As for the beard, everything's holding up fine, even after that hellish shoot in Tunisia. Episode 5, still a mess. Lucas delegates direction of The Empire Strikes Back to Irvin Kershner, who, by the way, rocks the goatee effortlessly. Well, except when ice literally forms in his beard while shooting in the Norwegian blizzards. This time, the stress induced by production delays sparks the first silver streaks in the beard of the man who gambled everything on this sequel. Episode 6, a new style, a sharply trimmed beard such as in this interview, which seems to come straight from a Clone Wars episode. Return of the Jedi is also a shock for Lucas, when his wife and collaborator Marcia decides to divorce, accusing him of choosing work over family. George watches helplessly as his marriage falls apart, and we, in turn, watch the slow progression of his beard towards white. And one day, the unthinkable happens. Actually, for Lucas, the second half of the 80s is the occasion to try new things. Indiana Jones, that one you know. Willow, that one maybe you know less. And in 1986, Lucas takes part in a completely wacky project. Michael Jackson is gonna do for Disneyland a 3D musical show directed by Francis Coppola. Just pure multiverse. The story takes place in a Star Wars-ish setting, which by the way was recently alluded to by Skeleton Crew, and it's called Captain EO. So why is this important in our review? Well, I told you this was produced by Disney, and back then, and actually until 2012, the park banned facial hair for employees to maintain a family-friendly atmosphere. To comply with that rule, said to be written by Walt Disney himself, Lucas shaved his face to honor the tradition. That's why we have this rare series of lost media from the attraction's inauguration. As you can see, Coppola, true to his reputation as an independent spirit, doesn't care at all about that rule. That's weird though, really looks like something is missing for George. The show was a huge hit and can still be watched on YouTube. I'd say it's the purest expression of the 80s. Next year, here we go again, this time to promote the famous Star Tours attraction. There's even an interview from Disneyland's press kit whose remaster offers us a high-definition, clean-shaven Lucas. So, decades before setting Star Wars, Lucas had collaborated with Disney as a true fan of his founder.
For a long time I've been interested in trying to get involved with the Disneyland theme park.
Star Tours ended up in multiple parks across the world for more than 2 decades and became a classic attraction for both Star Wars and Disneyland's fans. Don't worry, after those jobs at Disney, Lucas went back to his classic style. Time flew, giving us that pretty white bearded man when starting to film the new Star Wars movies. Always with his checked shirt, Lucas turns into his most iconic version, the one often parodied given how recognizable it is. White hair, white beard, a hint of mischief, he creates the prequels entirely on his own terms. He then meets and marries businesswoman Melody Hobson, and with the Disney's buyout, he seems to turn into a wise man and to take a step back on the saga that brought him so much, both good and bad. The little boy from Modesto has changed a lot, and as you've guessed, this silly journey through his beard was just my way of paying homage to the greatest storytellers of our time.